That guy in the thumbnail who had the loaf of bread under his chair, we call him Rage Text. So never saw him before the MGM promotion. Apparently this is turning into a mini-series about characters of the MGM Rakeback promotion. The last two before this one were the two worst. This one actually isn't that bad. I'm having a great time. So the last one was about the same time as the circuit stop at Bally's, World Series of Poker Circuit. So Herbs and Rye was in town playing a lot of events at Bally's, and then playing some cash at MGM. So I couldn't take it because I didn't like what the promos were becoming. They were great in 2021, not so much lately. But I would go because if you're at the same table as a friend, it's at least time passes. So this guy, Rage Text, it wasn't his name yet, but the three of us are at a table. He's sitting right next to Herbs and Rye. I wasn't. I was across the table from them. He's like never looking up. He rarely knows when it's his turn. He always looks mad. And Herbs and Rye can hear what he's talking, what he's saying into his phone. He's using voice to text to like send messages or leave notes. And Herbs and Rye is telling me, he's texting me at the table what this guy is saying. And it's some like really like mad, like violent things that he's like texting. It sounds like some woman that he's like really mad at. It was odd. He was enraged the entire time. He's mad when he wins a hand. He's mad when he loses a hand. Occasionally when he wins a hand, even though the stars just aligned for him, he thinks he's the greatest player of all time. He'll have like tens and a guy will have like ace-8 and the board will be 10-8-8 and he'll think he's the greatest player that Earth has ever seen. And when he loses a hand, he just flies into a rage more than he already was. Like seriously, the tilt rants that Phil Hellmuth has done for everyone on TV and YouTube, like this guy puts Hellmuth to shame how mad he gets. It's ridiculous, but it's also very entertaining. So after Herbs and Rye was telling me all this that day, back in like late February, we started calling him Rage Text. He also claimed the dog that he brought into the casino was a service dog. It definitely wasn't. It wasn't trained. It would run off. He would see it run off into the casino floor. He wouldn't care. He wouldn't go after it for a while. And I heard him ask out a woman. It was very close to me. I heard him ask out a woman and bring up the dog as if it was going to help his chances. So there was a time where he was at the next table. This was like February, March, and the dog ran off. He didn't care in the least. He just like went to the bathroom, didn't look for the dog. A woman really concerned brought the dog back into the poker room thinking it was someone who actually needed the service animal. So I didn't know why she was like so concerned. And once I understood, I wish I were at that table. It was the table right next to me so I could hear what was going on. But I wish I was at that table because I would have said, well, thanks for your concern, but it's not really a service dog. He just has the dog to try to pick up women. I've heard him ask out a woman and bring up the dog like it was going to help his chances. Not that it did. It's not trained. He doesn't care when it runs away. It's not a service dog. Also, I would bet this is the dog that closed the MGM poker room down about a week ago because people were getting bitten by fleas. There's another guy who breeds dogs and sometimes has the dogs with him. But even after the day MGM had to close down, that guy has been coming in with his dogs, no more problems. Rage Text stopped coming in with the dog and no more problems. So I bet it was his dog. Anyway, the funniest part was what he was like talking, he's kind of whispering into the phone, but not really. Herbs and Rye is sitting right next to him and can hear every single word. And I guess the other guy on the other side of him can also hear every single word if he's paying attention. So only saw that guy for the first time February last year during the Rakeback promo. And he's back for this Rakeback promo. No idea where he was every other moment of his life, but for the Rakeback promos lately, he's here. So I knew he's been in the room this week. Finally, tonight, he was at my table. I opened the table. I opened table 12 pretty shortly after it opened. He sat down. So I was in the 6. He was in the... I was in the 7. He was in the 4. So like the long part of the table is between us. I can't like see everything that's going on over there, but I know it's him and he's doing some weird things. I saw him eating a sandwich very early, and then like later I saw a box of cherries he had on the table. Okay, so he gets up because he's losing a ton of hands and he's in so much rage that he has to like run off and try to calm down, or whatever he does when he goes into a rage. So I asked the 3-seat who's sitting right next to him, like, was he eating a sandwich when he first got here? Because that's what it kind of looked like from over here. And he goes, well, not just eating it, he was offering us sandwiches. And I said, like, he just has like tons of sandwiches made and he was like handing them out. He goes, no, he's making them in his chair. He has a loaf of bread, he has a squeezed bottle of mayo, and he has a container of turkey. And he just sat down and started making sandwiches, and he started offering all of his sandwich fixings to everybody on this side of the table. So that's insane. If you're gonna like park yourself at MGM for this Rakeback promo, the least you could do is make a sandwich at home and bring it in, not like bring in bread and mayonnaise and make it at the table. It's just distracting and stupid. Also, he's eating cherries, which of course, like, he can't just eat like pre-cut cantaloupe. You eat it and that's the end of it or something. Of course, he's eating something with stems and pits. So he has a tray table and he has a dish. I don't know where he got the dish, but like not a paper plate. He has like an actual like dish you would get in a restaurant, and he's putting the stems and the cherries there. So he's even weirder than usual, but he's also enraged the entire time. He's like looking at his phone and typing things and just being mad the entire time, but he's losing hands, which is great. It's really entertaining for us. And when he gets up, I'm like asking the 3-seat who's right next to him and understanding how ridiculous this guy is, what's going on. So he lost a couple of hands, he left. He was actually gone for like, I don't know, I say like 80% of his first hour, which you're not really getting your time if your goal in life is to do the Rakeback thing and you're not at the table. So he has to come back. All right, so he gets into a hand with the 3. We got really short. A lot of people were kind of like leaving their chips on the table, but leaving because this is Vegas and that's what they do. So we were short for a while. Rage text at one point says, well, if we're this short, I'm just gonna raise every hand. All right, well, you're only doing that if you happen to pick up a hand, like right after you say it, and it's good timing. So he gets into a big hand with the 3-seat. The 3-seat raises, Rage text re-raises pre-flop, call. The flop is jack high, and they get all in. The 3-seat, solid, pleasant guy, has king jack, top pair. Rage text has queens. So this plan worked of him pretending like he was gonna turn into a maniac, and he just picked up queens. King on the turn, perfect, absolutely perfect. The fireworks went off. So the 3-seat hit 2 pair, 1. Rage text throws his cards, because he's a jerk, and takes out his phone. See, and now the thing is, when I used to keep my hand histories, I would write down the actions and like some thoughts I had in the hand. I would write down like raise, 15, king jack, flop, queen 3-2, check, IC bet, $25. Like, it would be the action so that later when I went home I could remember it and put down, you know, step by step what happened in the hand. And then once I did that, I would remember my thoughts and why I did everything I did. He takes out his phone to voice to text, not even type, so we could hear it, voice to text this rage hand history. It's just him being mad. It's nothing constructive about the hand. He just takes out his phone and he says like, oh, I set this guy up perfectly. I said I was gonna raise every hand, even though I wasn't gonna, and he came in raising. I 3-bet, I just threw in a handful of chips. I didn't even know how much it was, so he would think I'm just a maniac raising everything, and he gets all in with top pair. I have him with an overpair, and they just give him the turn. They just give him the king on the turn for 2 pair, and I lose. I can't believe it. Absolutely nothing constructive, just him being mad so that later he could go home and be extra mad about it. That was great. So right around that time, we got a new 9-seat, this guy from Austria, and he saw this, and Rage Text had to get up and leave and go calm down or get extra mad, whatever he does when he leaves the table. So I just started laughing. I was like holding my laughter in as best I could until he left. Started laughing. The 3-seat knew why. The 9-seat, even though he just got to the table, kind of knew why. And he said, what, is that guy mad again? He just got to the table. So I kind of explained what happened, and I said, well, yeah, you were playing with him like recently, and he was doing that. I said, yeah, yesterday. He was doing this. He was just mad all day yesterday. Then the 3-seat says, yeah, I was playing with him like 2 days ago, and he was just mad the entire time. He's been mad for like 3 days straight. And then I said, oh no, he's been mad for like 50 years straight. I just didn't know exactly what's going on when I'm not at the table. So then, I guess based on the stuff that he left on the rail, because he, you know, brings his life in like a backpack and like a plastic bag when he comes to the casino, the new dealer who was pushing in knows who's sitting there based on the stuff that was left on the rail. So when the new dealer comes in to sit, he points at the 4-seat, Rage Text seat, and he goes, oh, is that Mr. Bundle of Joy? So that was great, because this guy dealt to him yesterday or earlier in the day, and he was just as mad as possible. So things were amazing. They were so entertaining. When Rage Tex is winning hands, it's so frustrating because he is just trash, pure trash, and for anything good to happen to him, I can't stand it. Oh, when he's losing, it's fabulous. So eventually he comes back to the table and he gets into a hand with the 8 seat, who was new to poker and didn't speak much English. The 8 seat played Queen 7 of clubs, flopped a flush draw, turned the flush. They got all in on the turn, and Rage Tex never showed. Once the river hit, seed 8 showed his flush. Rage Tex threw his cards again, like he does every time he loses a hand, and then he stormed off. This was the most difficult it ever was for me to hold in my laughter until he left, which probably wouldn't have mattered. He probably wouldn't notice, but I was still trying to. That was amazing. He left. I played a really long session, so I don't know, like 8 hours later or something, he actually came back and was at my table again, not buying in for like the 1,000 that he usually does. He bought in for like 180 or something, and he quickly transferred. I was hoping for some more fireworks the second time around, but oh, that first time around was fabulous. It was like everything you could hope for when you're playing with a guy whose nickname is Rage Tex. Everything went wrong for him. It was amazing.